Is there any sight in baseball more terrifying, yet strangely comforting, than seeing those two different colored eyes staring down a batter in a Game 7 scenario? We thought we had said goodbye. We thought the book was closed on the Mad Max era in Toronto after that heartbreaking extra innings loss in the World Series. But guess what, folks? The fire isn't out yet, not even close. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we aren't just talking about a roster move. We are talking about a statement of intent. We are talking about unfinished business. The news just broke, and it is sending shockwaves through the Grapefruit League. Max Scherzer is back with the Toronto Blue Jays. Just 2 weeks into spring training, when most rosters are starting to calcify, the reigning American League champions have decided that you can never have enough grit, and you can certainly never have enough Hall of Fame pedigree. Let's break down the raw numbers before we get into the soul of this deal. It is a one-year contract worth a guaranteed $3 million. Now, for a guy with 3 Cy Young awards on his mantle, that number might seem shockingly low. It feels like a typo, doesn't it? But this is where the story gets fascinating. This deal is loaded, and I mean loaded, with performance bonuses. We are looking at an additional $10 million on the table, kicking in once he hits 65 innings pitched. This is a bet-on-yourself contract if I have ever seen one. At 41 years old, Scherzer isn't looking for a retirement check. He is looking for a ring. He is looking to wash the taste of that Game 7 loss out of his mouth. Think about where we were last year. Scherzer arrived in February 2025 on a $15.5 million deal. The expectations were sky high, and the road was rocky. He went 5-5 with a 5.19 ERA in the regular season. Critics were sharpening their knives. They said the arm was dead. They said the velocity was gone. But then, October happened, and in October, legends are made, or in Max's case, reaffirmed. That Game 4 win against Seattle in the ALCS? That was vintage dominance. And let's not forget Game 7 of the World Series against the Dodgers. He gave us 4 1/3 innings of one-run ball. When he walked off that mound to a standing ovation at the Rogers Center, it felt like a farewell. It felt like the Warrior laying down his shield. But clearly, the Warrior isn't done fighting. This return signals that the Blue Jays front office believes that the specific brand of intensity Scherzer brings is the missing ingredient to finally get over the hump. To truly understand the weight of this signing, we have to step back and look at the tapestry of baseball history. We are watching a first-ballot Hall of Famer raging against the dying of the light. It reminds me of Roger Clemens in his later years, or even Randy Johnson, finding ways to be effective simply through sheer will and mastery of the craft when the raw physical tools start to fade just a fraction. Scherzer is currently sitting at 221 wins, and, more importantly, he ranks 11th on the all-time strikeout list with 3,489 Ks. Do you realize how close he is to history? He is trailing the legendary Walter Johnson by just 20 strikeouts. 20! He could literally achieve that in his first 3 starts of the season. We are going to witness history in a Blue Jays uniform, folks. That alone is worth the price of admission. But this isn't just a nostalgia tour. If it were, he wouldn't have signed a deal so heavily incentivized on performance. This connects back to his tenure with the Nationals in 2019 and the Rangers in 2023. He knows what a championship clubhouse smells like. He knows the specific chemistry required to survive the marathon of 162 games and the sprint of the postseason. John Schneider, the Blue Jays manager, put it perfectly last fall. He said Scherzer isn't afraid to question everything. He questions the base running, the defense, the offense. He pushes the envelope. In a modern game dominated by analytics and tablets, having a guy who operates on pure, unadulterated competitive instinct is a rare commodity. Schneider mentioned that Scherzer still thinks he's the best base runner on the team, a callback to his National League days in Washington. That is the kind of irrational confidence that infects a dugout. It makes everyone else puff their chest out a little bit more. When you look at the history of teams that repeat or return to the World Series, they almost always have that one veteran presence who acts as a secondary manager. The guy who can tell the young phenom, "I've been here, I've done this, calm down." With a rotation that is already stacked, Scherzer doesn't need to be the ace anymore. He doesn't need to carry the franchise on his back for 200 innings. He just needs to be Max Scherzer for 5 or 6 innings at a time and be the loudest voice in the room when things get tough. That shift in responsibility, from savior to sage with a slider, is exactly why this $3 million gamble is brilliant. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the roster construction, because this is where the protocol of expansion really kicks in. How does this actually impact the 2026 Blue Jays? We are looking at a rotation that is frankly embarrassing in its riches. We are talking about Dylan Cease, Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, Trey Yesavage, Cody Ponce, Jose Barrios, and Eric Lauer. And now you drop Max Scherzer into that mix? This is an abundance of riches that creates a fascinating problem for John Schneider. Let's analyze the cap hit and the roster flexibility. Because Scherzer's base salary is only $3 million, it gives the front office massive breathing room at the trade deadline. If they need a bat, they have the financial flexibility to go get one. But more importantly, let's look at the injury insurance factor. Pitching attrition is the #1 killer of World Series dreams. We see it every year. A team looks invincible in April and is scrambling for AAA arms by August. By having Scherzer, even if he only gives you 80 to 100 innings, you are preserving the arms of guys like Trey Yesavage and the other younger talents. You are preventing burnout. But let's play the what-if game. What happens if Scherzer struggles? What if the 5.19 ERA from last season wasn't a fluke, but the new reality? The beauty of this deal is that the risk is minimal. If he can't go, the Blue Jays cut ties with very little financial pain. However, flip the coin. What if he finds that rhythm we saw in the ALCS against Seattle? What if he is the Game 4 starter in a playoff series again? Suddenly, you have a 3-time Cy Young winner facing an opponent's 3rd or 4th starter. That is a mismatch of epic proportions. The fan reaction, as you can imagine, is split down the middle. I've been reading the forums and the comments all morning. Half of the fan base is ecstatic, screaming, "Run it back," and dreaming of that elusive trophy. They see the low cost and the high upside. The other half? They are skeptical. They are worried about relying on a 41-year-old arm. They are asking, why are we blocking the path of a younger prospect for a guy who might break down? It's a valid concern, but in a window of contention. And make no mistake, the Blue Jays are in a win-now window. You choose experience over potential 9 times out of 10. This move tells the clubhouse that the front office believes they were this close last year, and they aren't ready to pivot to a rebuild. So, where does this leave us? We are standing on the precipice of a season that feels destined to be cinematic. Max Scherzer returning to Toronto isn't just a transaction. It's a narrative arc that Hollywood couldn't script better. The old gunslinger, wounded but not dead, coming back for one last ride with the posse that almost took it all. We have covered the financials, the history, the strategic implications, and the emotional weight of this signing. The conclusion is clear. The Toronto Blue Jays are operating with zero fear. They are embracing the chaos that comes with a personality like Scherzer because they know that chaos is often the forge where championships are hammered out. Whether he throws 65 innings or 165 innings, his presence alone changes the temperature of the room. He brings a standard of excellence that demands accountability from every single player, from the superstars to the rookies. But now, I need to hear from you. This is the most important part of the show. I want you to go down to the comments section right now and tell me, is this the move that finally brings the World Series trophy north of the border? Or is this a desperate cling to the past that will backfire? Do you trust a 41-year-old Max Scherzer in a Game 7 in 2026? Don't just watch, get involved in the debate. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want to stay ahead of every curveball the season throws at us, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. We are going to be covering every pitch, every strikeout, and every moment of this journey. The season is heating up, and you do not want to miss what happens next. I'll see you in the next video.